Have you ever wondered how everything around us was created? What is the purpose of human existence? If you have ever asked yourself these questions, you are not alone. In the first chapter of the book of Genesis, we find one of the oldest and most influential narratives in history, which tries to explain the origin of the universe and life. But there is much more to this text than just the creation of the world and humanity. There are mysteries, symbolism, and deep messages that can help us understand our place in the universe and our role in life. In this video, we will uncover the secrets of the first chapter of Genesis. We will explore the nuances of the narrative, reveal surprising curiosities, and show how the lessons found in this text can transform our lives. So, if you are ready to discover the mysteries of creation and human existence, join us and watch this video until the end. You won't want to miss it.
In the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved on the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the middle of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together to one place, and let the dry land appear," and it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas, and God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself, on the earth," and it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself, after his kind, and God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light on the earth," and it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light on the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness, and God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. And God said, "Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that has life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven." And God created great whales, and every living creature that moves, which the waters brought forth abundantly, after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind, and God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful, and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth." And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle, and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after his kind," and it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creeps on the earth after his kind, and God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." And God said, "Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed, which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree, in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth, wherein there is life, I had given every green herb for meat, and it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and, behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
The first chapter of the book of Genesis is one of the most studied and debated texts in the Bible. It describes the account of the creation of the world and all things in it, including man and woman. This text is the subject of many interpretations and debates among scholars and religious figures. Some of the issues raised include the chronological order of creation. There are different interpretations of whether the order of creation described in the book is literal or symbolic. Some argue that the order is scientifically accurate, while others claim it is poetic and metaphorical. The identity of the creators. The text refers to God as the creator, but some scholars believe that the book of Genesis is a combination of different sources and that there may be influences from other religions or cultures in the description of creation. The creation of humanity. There are debates over the interpretation of the text on how and when humanity was created. Some interpretations suggest that the creation of Adam and Eve was literal, while others argue that the text is symbolic and represents the creation of all humanity. The role of women. The description of Eve's creation from Adam's rib raises questions about the role of women in creation and society in general. Some interpretations suggest that women were created as subordinate to men, while others argue that gender equality is a fundamental value in the text's message. It is important to remember that the interpretation of the role of women in creation may vary among different religious and cultural traditions. Some may interpret the Genesis story as an indication that women are subordinate to men, while others may interpret it as an example of gender equality. In the book of Genesis, chapter 1, creation is described in a general way without specifying a specific role for women in creation. The account focuses mainly on the creation of the earth, animals, man, and woman. In verse 27, it is mentioned that God created man and woman in his image and likeness, granting both the responsibility to govern and care for creation. The Bible does not indicate that women have a lower or higher role than men in creation, but rather an equally important role. The book of Genesis also describes the creation of woman as a suitable helper for man, who was created first. This can be interpreted as an indication that woman has an important role as a companion and helper to man. However, this does not mean that women are inferior to men, but rather that both have complementary roles in creation. The first chapter of Genesis presents the narrative of the creation of everything that exists, including the natural world, man and woman, and establishes the order and divine purpose for the newly created universe. This is a fundamental text for the Jewish and Christian faiths, which narrates the creation of the universe and life by an omnipotent God. Although it was written thousands of years ago, it still continues to influence culture, philosophy, and religion worldwide. Christian religions usually interpret it as a literal description of the events of the world's creation in 6 consecutive days. This interpretation is known as literal creationism or six-day creationism. According to this interpretation, on the first day, God created light. On the second day, he separated the waters above and below the expanse called heaven. On the third day, he brought forth dry land and created vegetation. On the fourth day, he created the sun, moon, and stars. On the fifth day, he created sea creatures and birds of the sky. And on the sixth day, he created land animals and, finally, humanity. However, other Christian religions interpret it differently, understanding that the description of the 6 days of creation is symbolic or metaphorical and should not be interpreted literally. These interpretations vary according to the traditions and teachings of each religion and may include the idea that the days of creation represent longer periods, or that the order described in the narrative is more a matter of order than of literal time. The literal interpretation of the events described in this chapter is generally associated with conservative and fundamentalist Christian religions. This includes many Protestant denominations, such as Baptists, Pentecostals, Seventh-day Adventists, and Presbyterians, who generally believe that the Bible is the literal Word of God and that all narratives should be interpreted literally. It is important to note, however, that not all Christians who believe in the literal creation of the 6 days interpret the Genesis account in the same way. For example, some believe that the days of creation were longer periods than a 24-hour day, while others believe that creation was an instantaneous event. Among Catholics, there is a variety of interpretations, including the literal interpretation of the events of creation in 6 consecutive days. Nevertheless, the Catholic Church also accepts other symbolic and allegorical interpretations of the creation account. What is certain is that, regardless of interpretation, the first chapter of Genesis continues to be a source of inspiration and reflection for many believers and is widely considered a sacred and fundamental text for the Christian faith. It also contains some important messages such as the belief in a creating God, the value of nature and life, and human responsibility to care for the planet and its inhabitants. It also challenges human beings to seek a deeper purpose and meaning for their lives, far beyond worldly and immediate concerns. In addition to being one of the most well-known and studied texts in the Bible, the first chapter of Genesis has some interesting curious facts. Literary structure. The first chapter of Genesis has a highly organized literary structure composed of 7 days, which correspond to the creation of each of the 7 parts of the world: light, sky, earth, vegetation, stars, animals, and humans. This structure is commonly known as the 7 days of creation. Influence on other cultures. The creation account in the book of Genesis has had a significant influence on cultures beyond Judaism and Christianity. For example, the Babylonian creation account has some similarities with the Genesis narrative, such as the creation in 7 days and the separation of the waters. Scientific debate. The first chapter of Genesis has been a subject of debate among scientists and theologians throughout the centuries. While some Christian denominations interpret the creation account literally, others argue that the Bible should be interpreted symbolically and that science provides a more accurate explanation of the origin of the universe. Theological importance. It is a fundamental text for Christian theology because it provides a vision of God as the creator and sustainer of the universe, as well as the importance of creation and humanity in relation to God. The interpretation of this chapter can affect the understanding of many other aspects of Christian theology, such as human nature, sin, and salvation. There are several ways we can apply the teachings of the first chapter of Genesis in our daily lives. Let's see some of them. Environmental responsibility. We saw that the first chapter of Genesis emphasizes the importance of creation and nature, and how it is human responsibility to care for and protect the environment. Nowadays, humanity faces significant environmental challenges such as climate change and loss of biodiversity. We can apply these teachings by adopting sustainable habits, reducing the consumption of fossil energy and non-renewable natural resources, supporting public policies for environmental preservation, and promoting agricultural and food practices that preserve the environment. Valuing life. All living beings were created by God and therefore possess intrinsic value and dignity. Nowadays, there is still a lot of inequality and injustice towards different social groups and minorities, as well as disrespect for the rights of animals and plants. We can apply these teachings by defending human rights and social justice, supporting charity and helping initiatives, as well as practicing ethical habits towards animals and plants. Spirituality and purpose. Life has a deeper purpose and meaning that goes beyond mundane and immediate concerns. Nowadays, many people feel disconnected or discouraged about life or face personal and existential crises. We can apply these teachings by seeking a deeper connection with spirituality, religion, and philosophy, reflecting on our personal purposes and values, and seeking ways to positively contribute to the world. Respect for diversity. God created a diversity of living beings and considered them good. We can apply this teaching by valuing human, cultural, ethnic, religious, sexual, and gender diversity, respecting differences, and promoting inclusion and equal opportunities for all people. Creation and innovation. God created the world out of nothing, using His creativity and power. We can apply this teaching by valuing human creation and innovation, encouraging scientific and technological research, supporting education and entrepreneurship, and seeking creative and sustainable solutions to today's challenges. Humility and gratitude. We are creatures dependent on God and nature. We should be grateful and humble in the face of creation. We can apply this teaching by cultivating gratitude and humility in our personal and professional relationships, recognizing the importance of others and the environment in our lives, avoiding arrogance and selfishness. Hope and trust. Creation was an act of love and divine purpose. God is capable of transforming chaos into order and death into life. We can apply this teaching by cultivating hope and trust in difficult times, seeking necessary spiritual and emotional help, maintaining faith and trust in a better future. The first chapter of the book of Genesis is considered one of the most important texts in the Bible because it presents the story of the creation of the world. The chapter is composed of 31 verses that describe how God created the earth, light, water, the skies, plants, animals, and finally, humans. Among the many important points addressed in this video, one that stands out as fundamental is the idea that God is the creator of all things. This is the main message being conveyed, that God created everything that exists and that He is responsible for maintaining the universe in order. In addition, this chapter also shows us that everything God created is good, and that He created humans in His image and likeness. This means that as human beings, we have a special relationship with God, and that we have the responsibility to care for and protect the world that He created. Another important point is the emphasis on the order and organization of the universe. Creation is presented in an organized and structured way, showing that God is a God of order and that He has a plan for everything He created. Finally, it is important to remember that the first chapter of Genesis is a text full of symbolism and metaphors that can be interpreted in various ways. However, regardless of how this text is interpreted, the most important subject is the central message that God is the creator of all things and that He is the Lord of the universe. Wasn't it amazing to uncover the mysteries and secrets hidden in the first chapter of Genesis? I hope this video has inspired you to reflect on the purpose of life and the importance of creation. So, what did you think of this video? Did the things we talked about make any sense to you? Please tell us what you agree and disagree with. Your opinion is very important to us. And if you enjoyed this video and want to continue learning with us, please subscribe to our channel, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Leave your comments. We would love to know what you thought of this content and what your impressions are on the topic. Do you believe in the literal or symbolic interpretation of the first chapter of Genesis? Like and share this video with your friends and family who are also seeking answers about life and creation. Together, we will form a great biblical community. Thank you for watching until the end and see you in the next video.